I had hoped that I was going to be able to make a video of me riding this bike, but I went out the other day and had a low petrol light on, and I went and filled it up with petrol, and the bike still says it hasn't got any petrol. So my immediate thought is that it's something wrong with the sensor. Had a look around research on Google, and it seems that the sensor is a bit of a problem, but they're quite expensive, and so I was about to order another one, and then I thought I'll just have a look and see if I can do anything with the old one. I did find a video as well from a guy who said that they possibly there are some repairs available, so I thought I'd give it a go. The problem is that the tank is full of petrol, and I haven't tried to remove it yet, and I can see there's some leaking out of the pipe already there, but I'm hoping that it's not going to come pouring out of the top, out of the actual cap. And I've got it propped on this bag here, which actually contains a load of shredded paper, so it will soak it up if there's any problem. I'm just going to prop it up a bit more. Another one here. So I'm hoping that I can do this without having to drain the tank, and we'll see how it goes. So this is the sensor here, I believe. I'm going to undo this, and I'm hoping that all the petrol stays below it, but we'll find out in 1 second. If it doesn't, of course, I'll have to drain the tank at least partially. So let's see. This part number has increased. The part number 64107080 is now 200, and the rumour is that they've made the new one is better at dealing with the dreaded ethanol in the fuel. So good news is there's no fuel coming out. It's pretty easy to remove this tank from the bike. I didn't do the instructions for it. The only one difficult thing is when you pull the ears off of the tank, they just pull off. They're like a push fit in the side, and it's quite nerve-wracking that you're going to break the plastic as you do it. But other than that, everything else is straightforward. There's a bunch of connectors, a bunch of pipes, it all comes off fairly easily. So this does indeed look like I was expecting to look, and it's full of petrol. The first thing is that the float inside, let me see what the focus looks like here. I suspect there's one of two things. Either the float is stuck at the bottom, which sounds like it's not. That's all nice and free. Or, more likely, the float is full of petrol. And I'm not sure how easy that's going to be to fix, and I'm sure the float isn't available as a separate item, but I am going to, basically you can prise this piece off, this plastic piece. I'll get a closer view. I'm going to get a screwdriver, and we'll get a closer view, and we'll prise that off, and we'll have a look at the cylinder inside, the float inside. So we'll see. You can see that it's one of these kind of folded over, pressed in things. These little indents in the side here is what's holding it all together. But I'm hoping that I can just. I have seen another video of this being done, so I'm not entirely guessing. But I believe if you kind of gently, he says, you can lever this out. So I think rather than a small screwdriver I need a bigger bladed one to try and get it in and twist. It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Luckily not brittle, this. Hopefully you can see what's going on here. There. So, float inside. And the question is whether that float floats. The other thing is to remember which way up this goes. And one of the suggestions is to lightly sand around the outside, which I may do. But the question is, it doesn't seem like it's gonna sink. So I need something to put a bit of fuel in, and we'll drop it in and see what happens. I've got a paint tin here full of fuel that I just tipped out of the tank and managed to spill it everywhere. But anyway, let's just drop this in and see what happens. And it floats, but not super strong. Is that a problem? Definitely does float, but it takes its sweet time to come back up again. It's not as floaty as I thought it would be, but there's no bubbles or anything. Okay, so if it isn't that, then it's either getting stuck or it's an electrical problem. Any votes? Let's check the electrics. It's a bit hard to show, but with the float right up this end, it's showing 10 ohms, and then if I slowly jiggle it down, so this would be slowly filling the tank up, it goes up to 30 ohms, 40 ohms, 60 ohms, 80 ohms, 100 ohms, 106, and then it goes off the top. So I guess, what's that, 500 ohms? It's like 500 ohms at the top. Yeah, 500 ohms at the top. And 100 ohms, 10 ohms at the bottom. So if it's empty, it's 10 ohms. If it's full, it's 500 ohms, 700 ohms, yeah. So it does seem to be working. So why? That's empty. That's the right way up. Empty. Does the gauge? Does it stick? No. Perfectly free to move. Okay, I'm stumped at the moment. Not quite sure. Well, I really don't know. I've just had to watch back the video to see which way round this was, the connector pointing down. I really thought it was that way, so how short memory is. Anyway, I'm going to, for now, just temporarily put it back together and see if I can find out what its resistance range should be. But it seems to be working, and it's definitely not sticking. It's all free to move, everything. So I am a little bit baffled at the moment. Certainly, so empty reads almost short circuit, yes, and full reads about 750 ohms, something like that. So if it were high resistance, then it surely should read full. That's weird. That's weird. Right, I can put it back in a slightly more safe position. And yeah, move all out of the way, and now I can measure. Interesting noise. I can at least measure the resistance with real fuel in it, if I can get at it. Just put you in a better position. Can you see that? Yeah. Really, is that naught? I can't see it properly. Come on. I can't get it to read anything. What's that? Yeah, so that's reading like 10 ohms, which is what we had before with it at the top. So it's definitely at the top. That's weird. Suspect I might have to put it back on the bike and see what it says. So I've engaged my brain and thought about this a little bit more, and so from my measurements as shown, it's low resistance when the tank is full. Is that right? No, it's high resistance when the tank is full and low resistance when the tank is empty. So I was thinking that it's possibly an open circuit, but now I'm thinking it's maybe a short circuit. Anyway, what I'm going to try is plugging it all back together and just see if it's any different. At the same time, going to spray everything liberally with contact cleaner and also put some dielectric grease on everything to see if that's the problem. And I thought I had it, but now I'm thinking about it a bit more, I realise I don't. Anyway, let's give this a go. So contact cleaner everywhere. There's only 4 connectors. There's this one for the level. That one I guess is the fuel pump, and then there's 5 connectors. There's 2 giant ones for the ECU. And then this one, this is quite high power, that one, so I guess that's the fuel pump. No, that's the regular rectifier, that's right, and then the there. So give them a good old spray, and then I'll put some of this lovely blue dielectric stuff in it as well, because it won't do any harm. So squidge a load of this in. I mean, these connectors are pretty good anyway, right? They're quite good waterproof connectors, but say this stuff doesn't do any harm, and it might conceivably do some good if I ever have to run through the floods or anything. So let's see if unplugging everything and plugging everything back in again has made any change. Got to find the key. I'm going to let you see the display. Let's see what it says. It says it's ready to race, and it says low fuel. Wow. Okay. Don't know. I've discovered if I disconnect the sender altogether, that, let's see if you can see the screen, hopefully you can see the screen, some funny, but you see we get a flashing fuel level there, which, so it knows when the sensor is completely disconnected, which is obviously very high resistance. I'm wondering if it's the whole thing is high resistance, and that I read somewhere else that it should be about 100 ohms, I think, at least the other KTM's about 100 ohms when the tank is full. So I have made up, I didn't have a 100 ohm resistor, but I've got some round about 500 ohm resistors, joined 4 of them together, makes roughly just over 100 ohms. So I'm going to try and put these in instead, and we'll see what it makes of that. If I can get to the connector. So 100 ohm resistor going in now. What does that do? That makes it read full. Yeah, so good news, bad news, it's the sensor. It's definitely the sensor. Got to get a new one. Best unfold my wallet, I guess. Anyway, I guess I'll end it there, because you've seen me put it all back together more or less. It's definitely the sender, but it's a strange fault that it obviously reads too high a resistance. Well, you live and learn. So I'll end it there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.